Hey, so welcome to Business Paper Review with me, Kalu Aja. This is the 24th day of August 2022, and we're going to talk about the news in the papers, do a bit of analysis. We really don't take a lot of questions, just like a 15-20 minute space. It's just to set you guys up for your morning, and then we'll let you go. Oh, so let's get right into it. The first news is coming from, I picked this guy internationally. It's from a site called Zero Hedge. We're talking about oil prices. If you've been keeping score, it's been going down. Crude was almost 94 or so in the past week. Now it's gone back up to 100. And what's going on? So, two things are going on. Number one, it looks like Iran and the US might be approaching an agreement saying, hey, if Iranian oil comes back to the market, there's going to be new supply. If there's new supply, that then means that the price will fall. So what OPEC is doing is signaling already to the markets that should Iran have a deal with the US, OPEC will be forced to cut prices, right, to reflect the increase in production that would come from Iran. What that has done is sort of like now push up future prices. So the traders are going to be like, well, the Iranian supply will not really cause a lot of excess supply in the market. Already, Iran sells a lot of crude oil to China. So if Iran comes in and brings that supply, OPEC is going to cut prices and prices are still going to stay up. So the market is just reacting to that news. So the Brent has gone back up to $100. So let's bring it home to Nigeria. I mean, when you then hear that oil prices are still going to be 100, even now, I mean, now it's going to be September, October going forward, right? And then you read, I mean, yesterday we talked about the report showing that 90%, the Pengasing guys were saying 90% of the oil flowing through the Nigerian pipelines are stolen. 90%. This just shows you that we really have got to fix whatever is happening in the Delta area with our oil pipelines and the stealing going on. I see the government has gone back and has hired Tom Polo, the ex-militant. His name is Government Tom Polo, so that's his name, to guard the pipelines. This was something he had been. That's Tom Polo had been hired by the Goodluck administration to also guide the pipelines. He did a pretty good job, right? But the Buhari's regime came in and sacked him. Now we're bringing him back to guard the pipelines. Hopefully, he can do another good job, and we can get that oil flowing to Nigeria's coffers, and possibly start to get the revenue flows from that oil. You can't steal 90% of crude oil. It's impossible without the direct connivance of the security services up above. So I mean, I've already tweeted this. I hold the security guys, the army, the navy, the police, the civil defense, the guys at Delta. I hold them responsible. There's no way you can steal 90% of oil unless someone turns a deliberate face away from what's going on. So I mean, if I was the president, I would change everyone that is posted right now to any Niger Delta state. Bring in fresh people. The guys there are not doing their job. 90% stolen guys. That's the news. So I mean, it's a double-barreled news story. Oil prices are going up because OPEC is going to cut prices if Iran comes back to the market. We're linking this back to the fall of revenues in Nigerian's crude oil space, and we're essentially saying the government has got to get its act together. You can't lose 90% of oil and still have a functioning nation. There's no revenue, right? So let's get our act together. Yesterday, I did promise you guys we're going to have a good news story. Well, I found one. The next headline is from the cable. Non-oil export revenues increases to 2.6 billion in 6 months, highest since 2018. So great news, guys. Nigeria's exporting more non-oil. It's about 2.6 billion. Great news. And then if you see the breakdown, this is from the Ezra. Mr. Ezra is the EDNEPC. That's Export Promotion Council. It gives a good breakdown of what we're exporting, and it basically makes the point that Nigeria is now exporting more finished goods like we're exporting urea fertilizer instead of just the raw, gas, because urea fertilizer is from gas. So great news for Nigeria. But in this story, I have an analysis to make, right? If you look at what we're exporting, Nigeria is exporting urea fertilizer about 34, is that my, yeah, about 32% of the exports are urea fertilizer. So this is Dangote. Dangote gets the gas in Dangote fertilizer. He converts it to urea, and we export that about 34%. The next biggest export is cocoa, way down there. Cocoa is about 12%. Then you have aluminium. Then you have what else? Sesame seeds. So fertilizer is now Nigeria's top export, which means Dangote is now Nigeria's top exporter. And this happened in about 2 years, right? So kudos to Dangote. But the point is this: that entire factory, I've argued this point before, that entire factory was only built or could have only been built because Dangote got a lot of special quote unquote allowances and incentives from the federal government. He got dollars when there were no dollars to build at the cheap. He got dollars from the central bank when dollars were scarce. He is in a tax-free zone and all that. So I would have expected that we get more of the output of that fertilizer to go into Nigeria first before it's exported. I had seen this data point before, but now it's just being backed up by the NEPC that the bulk of its exports are now going to US and Brazil in terms of urea fertilizer. So I would just hope that the government is telling Dangote, listen, man, we understand you have to export and earn dollars. Nigeria also needs those dollars, but we have got to satisfy the local market. I made this point again yesterday. Food is what drives the Nigerian inflation figures. Food is 51% of CPI. If we can get Nigerian food cost down, then we can get the cost of inflation down, then we can get the cost of doing business down. So if food prices go up, your mortgage goes up. That's what happens in Nigeria. So we have to focus on food. And one key way to focus on food is to get the cost of fertilizers down and available to farmers. So I like the report, but I'm just worried that we're not exporting all the urea Dangote is making. But good to see that we're really up there in terms of export, and we're exporting the finished goods, and also to see that Dangote is now the largest exporter in Nigeria. So good news there for you guys. All right, so what's my other news? I'm talking about this Lekki deep sea port. And this is a story from the Vanguard, right? The Lekki port to provide, give or take, about 112,000 jobs to Nigerians. So first of all, it's good to explain what a deep sea port is. Normally, if you see, the Apapa port or the Lekki port and all that, you just see the port is on the shore, right? They build out the harbor, and you have the port. So the ships have got to come to the harbor. Most times, those harbors are dredged and all that. But a deep sea port is really out in the sea, right? So the port is out there in the sea. So what that means is that the larger ships, what they call the Panamax ships, those large ones, could actually dock way, way away from your normal berth, right? That you can take larger ships, so you can take larger cargo. What that means is that the per cost cargo falls. So essentially, what Lagos is doing is just saying, listen, we're going to be the top import destination at least for the nearest future. Because if you're an exporter and you export things to Nigeria, it is cheaper for you to take it to that deep port in Lekki because your costs are going to be lower because the bigger ships carry more cargo. So your cost per cargo is lower. So that's what Lagos State is doing. And that's brilliant from them. So, I mean, we're having this discussion on Twitter with some folks, and I'm basically saying, you guys, we just really have to copy Lagos. So everyone is building a port. Lagos is now building a deep port out in Lekki, right? And this is just going to be a game changer for everyone because eventually there's going to be the devolution of powers. So business is going to go to where costs are cheaper. That's essentially what it is. If costs are cheaper in Lagos, then even the folks that are from the eastern part of Nigeria will still import to Lagos and transship to the east, right? And they are also building the Badagry deep sea again. So Lagos also have two deep sea ports, Badagry and Lekki, to compete. So every other person has got to get his act together. And I'm saying this in terms of competition because competition favors the consumer. More ports mean cheaper costs, which means we pay less, right? Akwa Ibom, where's your deep sea port? You guys say you have crude oil. Where is your deep sea port? So, I mean, kudos to Lagos for just going out and just investing in this. It's a PPP, which means they've got in private investors. The Lekki port is really owned by China. You know, the China Harbor and then the Singapore guys, the Ptolemy, the guys that own Indomie. Those two guys own about 60 or 70% of this port. Lagos state government owns about 20%. Federal government owns about 5% through MPA. And that's the model, you know. Go out and get an international partner with a lot of cash, right? Get a technical partner, bring them to Nigeria. You can give them land, you can give them tax breaks, get that port together, give the federal government shares. The state can own the shares and also be a sponsor. Build out your port, man. That's what we need to do, right? So that way we are having this infrastructure being built out, and of course it's working better for everyone. Last story I saw here, I wanted to touch on. We touched about it yesterday. Federal government was saying they want to address airlines trapped forex. The story is here again. They're just saying it. This is from the Punch. Federal government on Monday says it's working to fix the trapped forex. They're just saying they are working to fix it. I don't see any direct pathway to how they want to fix it. Just saying, hey, we're going to fix it. I mean, the rumor I have heard is that the airlines are waiting till when it's near December to start to slowly take away the seats from Nigeria, because this one they can put more pressure on the Nigerian government to release their dollar dividends, which are held up in the Central Bank of Nigeria, right? And of course, you can see the connection. If you don't secure your oil exports, you have no money to pay airlines. If you can't pay airlines, trade will fall. If trade falls, you don't get investors, right? So it's all connected. That stealing in the Niger Delta is too widespread and too visible for it to be invisible. It just can't happen. So I hope the president is taking note that 90% of the crude oil that's supposed to flow to his budget has been stolen. He's the oil minister. So he should do something really cool and just stop that. All right, guys. Hey, I tried to keep it at 15 minutes. Those are the main headlines that I saw, right? And if I don't see anyone raise up his hand to speak, then we're just gonna shut this sucker down and then just wish you guys the very, very best in your Wednesday. Let's see. Cool. All right, guys. So that's my that's my weekend, my Wednesday news, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Then you guys have a great day and go make that money. Talk to you later. Bye.